So welcome to a tutorial video on Bayonetta 2. Basically, if you're getting started on speedrunning. I've been speedrunning Bayonetta 2 at this point for about 9-10 months or so, and there's been a kind of recent uptick in interest in people wanting to speedrun this game. And I get asked a lot of questions on the Discord and also sometimes on YouTube comments. Basically, how do I do certain techniques, or what approach should I take to learning to run this game? So that's what this video is going to kind of focus on, a couple different things. Basically some costumes and some basic weapons that you want to use to get started on your speedrun for Bayonetta 2. There is an item on right now that gives me infinite, unlimited, Umbran Climax, so I just have that on for just demonstrative purposes. When you do a speedrun for the game, you start with a brand new cleared out file. So you won't have any extra accessories or weapons already. You have to earn those. This is the default costume for Bayonetta. And basically what you want to do is you're going to want to get what's called Star Fox uniform. If you're in Europe, I think it's Lilat Wars, and some other names. It's basically, the name changes throughout the territories or wherever you are in the world. The reason why is because when you're doing your combos, the ones that do the most damage, first off, are your guns. The damage per second for the guns are phenomenal. They beat everything else in the game hands down, just about. The most basic combo you're going to be using for a speedrun is punch, kick, kick. Instead of just doing punch, kick, kick, where you have your Wicked Weave come out at the end, you actually want to hold down your attack buttons. So that way you have all these bullets come out for your punch, your kick, and then your final kick as such. This is going to eat down the enemy's health bar a lot faster. If you're just going through and doing your fast attacks like this, you'll knock them into the air, which is good for crowd management. The golems takes them off their feet and takes them a long time to get up, so it allows you to do more damage, but you're missing out on wasted time. So if you do punch, kick, and then kick again, holding it down, just keep repeating this ad nauseum and you'll do really good. At the end of the combo, you want to also do the right trigger, which is your dodge move. If you spam it too many times, like the fourth time, it makes you cool down, so try to avoid that if all possible. At the end of any type of combo string you do, like the punch, kick, kick, dodge out of it while still holding down a button, and you'll fire off all your guns. And this is important because you can keep things going as well. Keep your bullets in the air, keep attacks, enemies locked down. So just kind of get used to practicing that and getting that going. It's going to help you out, and definitely in the long run. Now, something I wanted to bring up before I switch over to the extra costume is that with the punch, you see how you have one stream of bullets come out, and then with the kick, you have a total of 2. The uniform we're going to switch over to, I believe it's called the Star Mercenary. I'll get the exact name for it in a second. Does double up those shots. We're going to take a look at that right now. So now we're in the the character settings of the game. Instead of equipment, which is where I usually want to go by default, the costumes are actually found underneath change character. So just basically scroll back to Star Mercenary, which you will buy through Rodon's shop. I can, with the current strategies that I used for my running, is I am able to afford this after the Chapter 3, which is where you're basically flying through Paradiso. It's like a big water tornado, and all sorts of fun stuff happens. And you take a lot of flying guys. You'll quickly learn if you ever watch any of my streams or any other video, if I do in the future, I really don't know a whole lot of bad guys' names. I kind of make up my own nicknames for different levels and such, so I apologize if I'm confusing anybody. But the Star Mercenary outfit does you have the ability to buy it when you get 100,000 halos. So when you start speedrunning the game, your goal is to save up enough money to get this as quickly as possible. Make sure you put that on, and we're going to jump into this level real quick and just go right back into training mode. So as you saw before, you'd have the one-shot stream with a punch, but now if you do it and hold it, punch and hold, you have 2 come out at the very end. This is crucial. It doesn't seem like a whole lot, but you're still doing those extra points of damage from your guns coming out. So your one punch becomes 2, your kick goes from 2 to 4 in a combo sequence. So it was 2, then it doubles up to 4. You have even more coming out. So this helps chip down enemies even faster. So it really makes the best sense to get this gun, get this outfit as quickly as possible. Even if you're doing punch, kick, punch, which I really don't recommend for a lot of times, unless you're bouncing somebody directly into a boundary or a wall and they're going to bounce back into you, because it pushes people too far out. So definitely get the uniform as quickly as possible. It's not cosmetic. In this case, it does aid your run. Next thing we're going to talk about is the use of the swords. Throughout the course of a run, you're pretty much going to be using 3 weapon sets. You're going to be using your guns, your swords, and then also the hammer we'll get to near the end of the video. Now, the swords are a lot of fun in casual play, but they are almost useless throughout a speed run. They're a lot of fun, don't get me wrong, I enjoy them, but they have such weak damage output, it doesn't make up for it. They have the speed increase you get for using them. Your attacks go a lot faster, but you have to do a lot more of them. You don't end up saving time. What does make this useful, however, is the 360 spin. This simple move right here will lock down enemies in place. The hitbox for it is also insane. It goes at least 10-15 game feet out from Bayonetta, from the edge of her sword. So you can actually trap people in with this 360 spin move, and it looks like you're nowhere near them and they'll still be getting hit by it. Its Unbring Climax mode as well increases the range substantially, so you can pretty much cover just about the entire screen. There is a problem, however, where you may not be able to get everybody all at once in this. Like, you'll see other people getting trapped by the spin move, and then you'll see other enemies kind of moving around. It's just a kind of quirk with the game. No real way around that I found. It's just kind of, sometimes you'll get them trapped or not. So 360 spin is where this is at. You only use this probably a couple handful times throughout the run, unfortunately. But it is worth your time to get it, just for the aspects where you have a lot of flying guys going around and basically trying to, they can really wreck your day. They can either start attacking from multiple angles, gang up on you, come up through the ground, or go hiding and can slow you down. So the swords are really excellent. So next up, we have the hammer. There is an official name for it, and I don't use it. It's long-winded. And the hammer just kind of gets the point across. It's exactly what it is. This is a weapon that you find over a total of 2 different levels, which threw me off a lot when I started playing this game the first couple of times, because you get trained that for just about every level you come across, if you start finding gold record pieces, that all the pieces for that weapon will be in one level. This is spread across 2, so don't freak out if you find 2 pieces in one level. The next one's going to be in the other one, the last one coming up. So the hammer is very powerful. It is slow wind up, however. As you can see, it does cover right around Bayonetta, like almost a full 360 coverage. It covers up in the air against people jumping out. It can also be, you can hold down an attack and charge it up for different levels, which stays active for a little bit, but once again, it's really slow. What really makes this weapon come into its own, outside of its Unbring Climax mode, which covers a lot of area as well, but once again, it's extremely slow, is the ability to use jump canceling. Jump canceling is a technique. If you play Devil May Cry, you're most likely familiar with this kind of setup for it. It's found throughout that series. But basically what you do is you hit the jump button, and then you quickly cancel it by using an attack. Like so. You can keep doing it repeatedly. So just going jump immediately into punch. Just like you can probably hear the clicking, just 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Some people are able to flick it with their thumbs. I'm not really able to do it too well like that because of my arthritis I have. So I grew up an arcade player. So I'm used to, kind of doing kind of like piano technique where you basically push it with the tips of your fingers, kind of like you'd be typing on a keyboard. So I will actually lay the controller, I use a Wii U Pro controller, hold the left grip like normal and put the right on my right leg, and put my fingers on top of the B and X buttons, which are your jump and your attack buttons. So I can just go like this. I'm just hitting jump and punch right after the other, waiting for that technique to come up. You can see it's interrupting and going through. You can also use it to change your direction and kind of move around in circles a little bit. So if you're getting surrounded by certain enemies, this is really good to help clear them out. Or if you're knocking around, you can follow them. If you want to try something really kind of complicated, you can push it both at the same time repeatedly. Doesn't really do much, but it just looks kind of neat, a little funny there. But you're not really going to be hitting anybody with this because you're canceling it so fast if you push both buttons at the same time. In practice mode, this is really easy to do. It lets you get the timing down. Because I remember when I first started learning how to do jump canceling, I'd be jumping it way too high, going over a lot of people's heads. And, pardon me, practice mode allowed me to go through and get that timing just right. Inside the game, however, it's a lot harder. Right now, the game is running a full 60 frames per second. But when you get into the game, it's a variable frame rate. So when you have enemies pop up, you're going to have that frame rate drop from 60 down to 44 to 40 frames. So you're going to be dropping those inputs. If you go through and you start swinging too slow like that, just try the move again. Just even if it starts going like this and you're getting trapped in, go back, keep trying to do your jump canceling with the jump immediately in the punch and repeating, and you should be able to hopefully get out of that slow animation and keep going with your technique. This is really vital for a run. I did an experiment with it recently where I didn't pick up the hammer to see if the guns overall would beat certain bosses. There's a spider boss it does really well on, and the Vigrid Deja Vu level where you're running through pretty much parts of the first game. The hammer comes in handy as well. As I mentioned, the Umbran Climax mode, if you're doing the jump canceling, you have this huge arm just wrecking everybody in a wide, huge angle, like 180 degrees or so. And this is really useful for crowd control. There's certain angel enemies that this can also really beat up on as well. So if you start moving it in like I am with the slow circle movement, changing directions on the jump cancel, you can pretty much cover everybody's entire screen. It does a lot of damage. So definitely learn to jump cancel. It will make your day. So that's it for kind of a quick little tutorial. Ended up mostly being about the weapons, but these are the three main weapons you will use during your time for speedrunning Bayonetta 2. The guns, the sword, and of course the hammer. So hopefully you find this interesting. If you do, let me know. I can always make some other videos as well. I definitely also recommend, if you're going to start speedrunning this game, that I do have the current world records for second and third climax for this game on speedruns.com. Definitely watch those videos. I also have them here on my YouTube page. I'll put the links down in the description below. We also have a Discord server as well, so you can come in, ask questions. We are more than happy to help go through and talk strategies, and I've let people know exactly what I've managed to find kind of playing this game by myself, because the community for this game has been pretty small, and we've just had a recent uptick in people wanting to learn how to play this game. So if it interests you whatsoever, please check out the links in the description below, and thank you for your time. See you guys online.